Good morning and welcome to the Malaysia Mystery Tour Day 4 here on Planet Doug. I'm in the town of Gua Musang, and that's my hotel right there, the Mines Inn. It's kind of an interesting name, Mines Inn. It made me think that this town had a history of tin and gold mining, but it doesn't really have a history of that. I think there's mining going on now, or like exploratory mining. They're looking at this area for possibilities of gold mining, things like that. But I don't know if it has a real history of mining like they have around the Ipoh area, but I'm not sure about that. But one thing they do have here is a stop on the Malaysian jungle train. Oh, gotta stop here just for a minute to show you something. But yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. There's an old train station and the new one, and the old train station has been preserved, and I don't know, it's some kind of a museum or at least a train station cafe or a restaurant. And my traveling companions are having breakfast right now, and the train station is about 15 minutes away. So I thought I'll take a walk, take a look at the train station, go back to the hotel, and then we'll meet up and start our day. So that's what I'm doing right now. And this town is such a surprise to me. I didn't know anything about it before I came here, but the highlight of this area is what we're looking at. These limestone karsts everywhere, all around the town. And look at this mosque. I guess we're shooting into the sun. It's not that clear, but it's right at the base of that amazing limestone formation, those cliffs. And the train station, I believe, is right behind the mosque at the base of these cliffs. And we get there walking in this direction. Yeah, I knew nothing about this town. To be honest, I'm not sure I even knew it existed. I'm sure I've heard the name Gua Musang before, but when we decided to make this a stop on the mystery tour of Malaysia, yeah, it was kind of a new idea to me. It was like, oh, okay, what's there? What's the deal with this town? And yeah, it's been a very pleasant surprise now that I'm here. But we're only here briefly, and the original idea, we left from Taman Negara, the national park. The village there is called Kuala Tahan. We left from there yesterday morning, and the idea in my mind anyway was, it's going to be just a quick ride, zip up to Gua Musang, check into our hotel at like noon, and then we have the day in the evening to explore this town. But life had surprises for us, and it turns out that this is a holiday weekend, which I kind of knew, but it also took me by surprise. I knew September 16th, Tuesday, was Malaysia Day, but in my mind, that made the holiday next week. Like next week. I'm fine, thank you. Hey. And no, but it turns out because it's on a Tuesday, a lot of people took Monday off. So they made this weekend the long weekend, the holiday weekend. So there was a lot of traffic on the road, a lot more than we expected. And then we ran into construction. Apparently, I think they're building some kind of a superhighway, a freeway, expressway system from KL into Gua Musang. So there's this big construction going on the highway. And the expressway narrowed down to 2 lanes, and then 1 lane, and then 0 lanes practically. And we found ourselves stuck in the biggest, least moving traffic jam of my entire life. I was just astonished, because we knew we were heading into an area where there was some congestion. Google Maps told us that. But we got to the tail end of the beginning of the congestion, and we came to a stop, and then for 2.5 hours, it's like we didn't move at all. We were in the highway turned into a parking lot. It was crazy. Anyway, it took us hours and hours and hours and hours to just cover the last few kilometers to get into town. So this is actually my first view of Gua Musang, but very unusual mosque. I like that style. Very modern, but combined with traditional minarets, and then with the backdrop of these cliffs. Very impressive. And the day ahead of us is going to be a bit of a mystery as well. We're just sort of making it up as we go. I mentioned in an update this morning, I put an update on the Patreon and on YouTube posts, that the original idea, we had a tentative plan to follow the east coast of Malaysia. To basically, today we were going to drive to Kota Baru and then go down the coast, along, following the shore, and go to Kuala Tenang. I can never say the name of this town. You'll have to forgive me. Kuala Terengganu. And then an advantage to that, of course, we get to see the East Coast, but the YouTuber American Hobo is also on the East Coast. I'm just stopping to take a picture of this mosque, by the way. There's my phone, and let's make that a bit wider. There we go. And get a picture for Relive. There we go. And then, yeah, we thought we could meet up with the American Hobo, who's riding his bike around Malaysia, and he's on the East Coast right now. But then yesterday, when we were stuck in the traffic jam, we were talking about things and actually crunching the dates and the numbers, and it was obvious that if we followed that route, we would be driving all day, every day for the rest of the trip. There was just long distances to cover, and every day we'd be moving. So we changed our plans. So today we're actually driving to Ipoh, which is also not that close when you crunch the numbers. Like if I see as a Canadian a town is 170 kilometers away, well, we would drive there for breakfast and come back, because it would take us an hour and a half to get there. But because we're going through the mountains, kind of through the Cameron Highlands, and following Highway 185, which like goes like this, you know, zoom, 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 zoom. It's going to be slow moving traffic, probably a lot of holiday traffic. So it's probably going to take 3 or 4 hours minimum to drive to Ipoh. And then we're going to stay in Ipoh for 2 days. I convinced my traveling companions to kind of stay put for an extra day, and we can kind of relax more, rather than like instantly driving the next day to get somewhere else. You know, Planet Doug style, I'd be I'd be here in this town for a month, and then I'd be in Ipoh for a month. That's just sort of the way I rock and roll. Oh, look at this. The limestone cliff is just about to get covered up by the sun. Maybe. I don't know if I can get close enough to get into the shade. No, I don't think I can. I was hoping to get a clearer view of it, because we're shooting into the sun. But maybe at the train station we can get into the shade of the cliffs and get a better view of it. Oh, a fence. Not a big surprise in Malaysia. I'm always cycling, walking, I'm always running into barriers. Things get blocked. You just can't make your way forward for some reason. Just a habit in the country, the way the place is designed. So I might have to go all the way back out to the main road again. Or can I sneak through this fence? Maybe it's just meant to keep out motorcycles. Yeah, looks like I can duck through here. Okay, cool. Yeah. Here's a shade from a tree, so I'm not shooting directly into the sun, but amazing. It's nothing like a good limestone karst. I figured out why this whole area was blocked to traffic. It's a brand new construction. This yellow building here is like a big compound. It's still under construction. It's not open yet. Taman Sungai Chindai. So that's why they have this gateway here. But if you're on foot, you can get around it. I just looked up the word karst, and in fact, karst just means sort of a rock formation formed by soluble minerals. So you can get a karst not necessarily from limestone. So a karst doesn't have to be made of limestone. That's just one type of karst. Though I think it's the most common, and it's what most people mean when they say karst. So a lot of people just don't even say the limestone part, but it's not redundant to say limestone karst is acceptable. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of cars going by on this little road. I was wondering whether this was all holiday traffic. Everybody coming to see the train station just like me. Yeah, I don't know about today. As I said, this is going to be a very popular area, the road between here and Ipoh. And yeah, another problem with the East Coast plan that we had originally is that when my travel companions tried to book accommodation, they couldn't find any. Everything was booked. I checked myself on Agoda and places like that, and in a place like Kuala Terengganu, the only accommodation available was like the super luxurious stuff, like really expensive. All the normal hotels and guest houses, everything was already, sold out. So that was another reason we abandoned the East Coast plan. And here, yeah, it's going to be equally busy. Look at this. So this is the old train station. And I'm not here to have a meal or anything. I just came to walk down, take a look, and walk back again. So it doesn't matter that it's busy, but Warung Pok Jo. There's a little bit of the train station theme in some artwork. Looks like they have some old train stock here. I don't know whether, the train tracks here might still be active. I don't really know what the situation is, but there's some old train cars and gear. Yeah, it looks official. Like this looks like it's still operational. So this is an official train station still in some respects. Yeah, it's busy. And everybody's here to take, oh, there is a gate. I was wondering, how did they get onto the train tracks? But there is an open gate here. Got here just in time. The sun is just about to come over the edge there. But over here, maybe the lighting is still good enough to get a nice view. But yeah, what a spectacular setting for a train station, right? And on one Google Maps review, somebody mentioned eating here or having a drink here, and then a train went by. So it is still an active track. Yeah, it looks to be in perfectly usable condition, right? But I don't know if the jungle train follows these tracks or not. But they did say that you don't buy tickets here. You have to go to get on a train as a passenger and buy a ticket. You have to go to the official train station, not here. This is, as you can see, a restaurant now, and quite a popular one, especially on holidays. Very cool. It looks perfectly usable as a train platform. I mean, it looks exactly like every train platform I've seen in Malaysia. You got your benches, a long track that you can still walk along. And there's the Gua Musang sign. I think this is time for this is a selfie sign if I've ever seen one. Makes me wonder about the original construction. Of course, engineers were looking at the terrain and laying down the tracks where the tracks should go, and I wonder if they picked this spot because it's so scenic, or were there other reasons why this was actually the best place to put the train station and the train tracks? Because you do have to wonder, as an engineer, like rock slides. I mean, you got to think about these cliffs. How stable are they? Are they ever going to crack and a big chunk of this fall down onto the passing train? You wouldn't want that. I guess they decided that they'd been there for X number of millions of years, hundreds of thousands of years. So look at that. That is just stunning. And down here towards the end, you're coming around the corner of this karst, and now there's another one, and then another one. Gorgeous little town. Very nice. Sort of hoping I can hop down from the platform here and exit without backtracking. Do you think I can? Well, this trail will take me somewhere where I can get back into the city? Or is that private property? I decided to go back through the train station just in case there's more train station stuff to see that I didn't notice as I walked through. And my traveling companions are probably waiting for me, so I don't want to head off into like some grand adventure, go 2 miles down the tracks and find out that there's no way to get off them and into the city. So I'm gonna go for the sure thing. I know how to navigate through here. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of old buildings here, abandoned, and then in here there's a little cluster, like a little village in there, people living in there. I could see houses and I heard voices, so yeah, very interesting. Life along railroad tracks is always fascinating. It's a whole different world. And yeah, it looks like some people are using that building, if not living there. Railroad workers, perhaps. Very cool. And there's something interesting I didn't notice. Right at the base of the cliffs, I don't know if you can see it, there's like a red metal container up there. Kind of a tower or, yeah, no idea what that could be. Yeah, the sun has come over, over the cliffs. Yeah, it might be cool to come here in the afternoon and then you get the sun hitting the face of the cliff from the west, lighted up, much nicer for photography. Oh, there we go. Good morning, guys.
Morning, guys.
From the train station and...
I go to work. I want to go to work.
Go to work? All right.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. See you. There's a holiday atmosphere. People are full of energy because of the holiday, I think. A lot of visitors coming to town. Funny thing is, people always ask me if I'm alone, and the answer is almost always yes. And then everybody's like, "Oh, you're alone, aren't you lonely?" And the guy asked me, "Are you alone?" And my instinct was to say, "Yeah, I'm alone," because that's what I always say. But this, in fact, I'm not. I have traveling companions, and they're just back at the hotel at the moment. Yeah, so I've had my adventure for the day already. Now I can settle back in the car and just enjoy the ride. This was the main thing I wanted to see in the town, and I'm sure there's a dozen other things, but because of the traffic jam yesterday, just didn't work out. We're at one of the attractions here in Gua Musang, the Muse Ecopark. I don't really know what it is, to be honest. This is something that Habib picked out. He wanted to see this place before we left and drove to Ipoh. But yeah, it's some sort of a park right beside one of the limestone karsts. Whoa. There's actually little platforms right up there by the sign and the Malaysian flag. Does that mean people climb up there somehow? Yeah, like I said, I don't really know what the Eco Park is, but I think, yeah, we just came here to take a close look at the cliffs. We are not going to be doing any hiking or climbing, spending a lot of time exploring. Most of the day will be spent on the road, getting to Ipoh, but yeah, we're going to stop off at a couple of spots. Turns out we had more trouble with accommodation in Ipoh. We were going to spend like 2 full days there, 3 nights, 2 days, but we couldn't get any accommodation. So we're going to be driving to somewhere near Ipoh and spending the night outside of the city tonight, and then tomorrow we drive into Ipoh itself. So, yeah. Okay, there is, like I was wondering whether people actually climb there. And you can see this ladder structure built into the wall. Yeah, right there. See, there's steps and then there's a ladder. Goes all the way up. Whoa. And then I guess you can, I can't imagine that's open to the general public. They can't have ordinary people attempting that. It's way too dangerous. You'd have to be roped in and secured. So kind of a busy place with coffee shops. There's KB Brewster, and then Warung Muse over there. I think it says Muse. I see an accent on the E, and look at that. Another line. This is like right in the, where this is 200 meters away from the hotel where we were staying, right inside the town limits. And then this one is, yeah, the Muse Ecopark. And I guess you pay. It's an ongoing attraction. I thought maybe it was abandoned, but apparently you can pay, and then a guide will take you up those ladders into the all the way out there to the Malaysian flag. Maybe you climb up here as well. There's like a little platform in that tree. Yeah, stunning cliff. Very cool.
This morning you come to see the railway station?
Not here, no. I think this is the real train station.
Yeah, that's the real one.
But the old one, the historic one,
Historically different.
is over there. Yeah, it's different. No, I didn't come here. This is the actual train station. If you buy a ticket, I think you come here. Yeah, it's quite a modern design on that mosque. From the front, it looks much nicer than from here. It looks quite attractive. But yeah, so the old train station is around the corner over here. It's in a very nice setting. Next stop on our whirlwind tour of Gua Musang. It's a riverside park, Taman Rimba Sungai something. I can't remember the name of the river, but it's right inside the town as well. Short distance from there's the Ecopark, and that's the railway station over there, I think. So all these limestone cliffs right in the heart of town. Amazing. And yeah, there's a nice riverside park here. Don't know if I lost my companions. Maybe they went floating down the river. Oh, beautiful spot. They might have gone back to the car already. Let's come down here and take a quick look around. Oh, no, they're there. Yeah, they didn't have as much luck as I did. The funny thing is, when we showed up at the hotel and we had booked 2 rooms, and then of course there was a discussion which room was best for me by myself and which was the best for the 2 of them, because they would need a larger room with more bed, whatever. So I was originally assigned 1 room, but then we looked at it and looked at their room and thought, oh no, the room I had was better for them. So we switched, and I got their room and they took my room, which was better for them. But then it turned out that they couldn't turn on the water in their room in the shower. The faucet was just jammed and they couldn't turn it on, so they didn't have any water in the shower. So I ended up getting the good room. But all 3 of us were so tired yesterday after the traffic jam experience. That was something else. We were exhausted. I went straight to sleep. Couldn't do anything. Once I got in the room, I was done for the day. And we had such a huge feast at Kentucky Fried Chicken. It practically knocked me unconscious. It's not quite on the level of Taman Negara, of course, but yeah, beautiful spot right in the middle of the city. Not going in for a swim, but you could here, I think. Just sort of up to my knees. A little cool and refreshing. Beautiful spot. Yeah, there has to be some nice hiking all around this area. There's a trail starting right up there. It's probably going into these hills. So we're on the famous 185, the winding, curving road heading to Ipoh. Yeah, beautiful scenery. These are probably tea plantations on the hills here. Kind of looks like tea, but I'm not sure. We've seen a surprising number of logging trucks coming out. But luckily, they're all going in the other direction. They don't seem to be on this road going that way. More of the scenery that we're passing through. Very green, very lush. Very hilly, of course, the highlands. And I'm hoping in the future to do this same road by bicycle as I start riding my bike. This is good reconnaissance for me. See what it's like. This would be a beautiful road for cycling. I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen anybody on a bicycle yet. You'd think on the weekend or the holiday there'd be like athletic types, you know, riding their bikes here. Very high ridge ahead of us, winding road. Not a lot of traffic going in the same direction that we're heading, which is nice. And this road has a nice shoulder most of the time, which bodes well for cycling. We've got a nice shoulder over there. There's a cyclist powering uphill. I thought we would see a lot of people like that, athletes. So far, just one. Trip update. We come to a spot that was marked on the map as a viewpoint, but there isn't actually a turnoff or anything. It's not like a park, but I guess it's just an opening here. Yeah, very beautiful scenery up here, this area. I'm not sure exactly what's classified as the Cameron Highlands and what isn't. So, like, I don't know if you call what we're looking at right here part of Cameron Highlands. Not sure. Yeah, there's a beautiful view. Yeah. And on the way, I've been keeping my eyes open for cyclists. This would be an amazing road for cycling. Looking forward to it, assuming I manage to pull off this cycling trip and the weather is not horrendous by the time I get here. Should be pretty amazing. We've seen 2 cyclists so far. They're not like long distance cyclists, but like more like athletes. But yeah, it's beautiful here. And we got some really nice blue skies to start. Some clouds moving in. We'll see what happens to the weather. Apparently there's another viewpoint about 3 kilometers ahead. Yeah, and I was saying earlier that this area, to me anyway, is surprisingly wild and untouched. Like, you don't see a lot of buildings, you're not passing through villages or towns, there's no houses, no businesses or restaurants or cafes, factories. There's really very little up here except for the plantations, I guess, tea plantations, things like that on the hillsides. I mentioned earlier that I was impressed at how wild that area was, like no buildings, no settlements, and now we're going through quite a different section. Just huge plant nurseries on all sides. Those are some flowers there. I don't know exactly everything that they grow here, but the hillsides, oh yeah, look in that direction, just covered in, yeah, I wouldn't call them greenhouses, but they have coverings over all the plants. On all sides of us, the valleys are filled with those. Here's more of those nursery areas that I was talking about. They're huge. I have no idea exactly what they grow here, but flowers, seedlings for various plants. A lot of trucks here, so I guess they deliver it all over Malaysia. Yeah, and we were just commenting that it's surprising how little there is here in the way of like roadside cafes for tourists, things like that. Maybe you don't actually get enough tourist traffic on this road for businesses to support themselves. But I thought we would see fancy little tourism cafes everywhere, but it's not that kind of area. Yeah, look at this. We're going through a vast complex of plant nurseries all around us. And each one has a neat little system, like little tables and hangings for all the different types of plants. Very cool. Attack for a minute, and I saw this big lineup of cars, but they're heading into the Cameron Highlands. Look at that, another massive traffic jam probably. Oh boy, well, and these are all heading into Cameron Highlands too. But we get to go straight. We're heading to Ipoh. Maybe we made a smart decision this time. Oh, I'm so glad we're not in that lineup. That would be so awful. To do it 2 days in a row. And this is the scene at pretty much every gas station we've seen. Just chaotic because there's so many people on the road today. And this area is particularly busy with all the nurseries. All these pickup trucks and these trucks are all here working. But big lineup of cars trying to get gas. Yeah, it is a crazy day, especially if you're heading into Cameron Highlands, which I'm glad we are not. And there's the traffic jam heading into Cameron Highlands. Luckily, as I said, we're going in the other direction. So, yeah. On the Ask Me Anything video, Daryl from Wander Eats, he asked me to name 3 places I wanted to visit in Malaysia, assuming I go off on this bicycle trip. And one of the things I mentioned was actually this road, Highway 185. And the reason for that was, well, the scenery that we've already seen, a beautiful scenery, but There's also these long sections, winding curves. Like we're right in the middle of us, like 15 kilometers of gentle curves like this, going through the hills. It's quite beautiful here. I guess if you're coming this way, it would be all on a bicycle, all downhill through here, mostly. Going the other way, you'd be climbing up through all these turns. But yeah, it's a beautiful road. Not a huge shoulder, but there's enough there for safe cycling, I think. Lots of these yellow bumps warn people to slow down. I can imagine a lot of people have ended up in the ditches here. Quick update and another change of plans, as it turns out. We were going to go to Ipoh, but we couldn't get any rooms in Ipoh. Everything is sold out. We just couldn't find a place to stay for tonight. But we do have a place to stay in Ipoh tomorrow night. Just for tonight, sort of to tide us over, we ended up in a small village called Gopeng. And yeah, just your typical little sort of satellite village to Ipoh. And we're on this strip here. Quaint little place. They actually have a tea garden tourist attraction off in this direction somewhere. I think that's their claim to fame. And we're staying at the Gopeng Inn. You can see the gold G up there. It's just a small local hotel here. And yeah, this is the only place we could find. Ipoh, long weekend holiday, totally sold out. Everything is booked. And this is what a room looks like at the Gopeng Inn. Very nice. Yeah, a lot of room. Could be a lot more of me in here. I don't need all of this space, but that's, yeah, living in luxury here. And the bathroom. Oh, a lot of space in here too. Unusually spacious for a hotel like this. All right, I think that is it. I'm all packed. I'm all unpacked, I should say. I'm all settled in. And I'm going to sit down and transfer video files and do all those things required to turn today's events into a YouTube video eventually. Day 4 of the Malaysia mystery tour. Yeah, it really is a mystery because it took us from Gua Musang, a town that I had barely, maybe even never heard of before, to a town of even less prominence, Gopeng, which I definitely had never heard of before. I'm here in the village of Gopeng at the Gopeng Inn. And yeah, they have attractions in this neighborhood, in this area. So down at the front desk, I saw a big poster with all kinds that you can go here, go here, go here. Because we're right beside Ipoh. We're only a few kilometers outside of Ipoh. So everywhere that you could go from being based in Ipoh, you could go from here. The advantage of being in the city limits of Ipoh, of course, is all the restaurants and the markets and the historical sites inside the town itself. But being based out here would be fine too, if you wanted to just explore the area. So yeah, that is it for the day. Beautiful ride, absolutely gorgeous. Very different, like on the Musang side, it really was quite wild. There was like nothing over there but some agriculture in the hills, beautiful scenery, but not a lot in the way of houses, restaurants, industry, businesses, nothing like that at all. Like really, really gorgeous. And then as soon as you hit the turnoff, the road that goes into the Cameron Highlands itself, the Cameron Highlands Road, then things got quite a bit busier. Suddenly we're seeing a big busy gas station. There was a flower market for tourists. There was a nursery garden for tourists, and then a few restaurants and cafes and things like that scattered about. And then the road from there came down to here in altitude and just winding, curving, and just came down steadily the whole time. In fact, we came down so much, I was surprised because I didn't feel like we had climbed that much. But again, I wasn't doing the driving, so I didn't have the sense of us going up. Though our Mitsubishi Expander, I think, is a little 4-cylinder engine. It really had to struggle to get up some of the slopes. The engine really kicks into high gear. Yeah, you feel it that thing is being powered by a sewing machine engine. You know, it's not a high-powered engine at all. But yeah, once you came past the Cameron Highlands turnoff, then you saw a lot more industry and buildings and people and a lot more traffic. And then, of course, coming down into the Ipoh area. But really fun day, just from the point of view of driving. I was worried at one point when we saw a traffic jam ahead of us and thought, oh no, from now all the way into Ipoh, we're going to be stuck again. That would have been pretty bad. I think we handled yesterday's traffic jam, I think, with some pretty good humor and good grace. We just that's just what we're dealing with now, and we just dealt with it. But by the end of the day, we were all exhausted. I hit the bed, lights out. My companions hit the bed, lights out. We were so tired after being in that traffic jam for so many hours. Did not want to do it again today. But no, that traffic jam was going into the Cameron Highlands, and we could just go right back, and we could go right past it and just smile and wave and see ya, we're heading this way. And so we got here pretty early in the afternoon. It's like 3-4 o'clock. And I think I'm just going to take the rest of the afternoon and the evening to myself. There's a KFC, oddly enough. Our hotel in Gua Musang had a KFC like right across the road. We had dinner there, and I was talking with Habib, and I mean, we could go off in search of a really nice restaurant and make a big deal out of it, but we were in the car all day. Once you park the car, you sort of want to leave it there, and we're going to be back in the car to drive into Ipoh tomorrow, so we're going to have chances to have meals there. I think for tonight, we're basically done for the day. They're done, I'm done. If I insisted, kind of as their guest, and said, no, I really want to go hit the town and go explore Ipoh tonight, they would be on board, and we would go do that. But I think we're all in agreement that, nah, we're just going to chill. And I've got so much to do to, as I said, turn these experiences into a YouTube video. I need to take some time to do that, copying video files and backing things up at the very least. All right, so that is it. I've got my coffee station over there in the corner. This is a beautiful room in terms of layout. 2 electrical outlets. To me, that's living large. That's luxurious. 1, 2, and then there's even another one over here where the TV is plugged in. So technically 3. That makes me a cajillionaire in my books. So yeah, I got a little chair, hangers, a mirror, gorgeous bed, another gorgeous bed, coffee station, bedside table. I am definitely living large here. So that's it. Yeah, nice to get a little bit of reconnaissance in to see this district a little bit in terms of like, can I cycle through this area? What would it be like? So that was very good too. So pop over, as always, to the Planet Doug Patreon, get some trip updates there in real time, and photos and things like that, little video clips from time to time. And over on the YouTube page, Planet Doug YouTube page, where you are now, go to the Posts tab, and then you'll get real-time updates there. The same things that I post on Patreon, like in terms of daily updates, you'll get over on YouTube as well on the Posts page with the photo updates, things like that. Go check those two out. Come back here for the next video, and I'll see you then.